If you have been paying proper attention to the Captain's Arena, over the past 3 episodes, we've been having women captains on the show. But then some captains are not equal, especially to me, as I look at it. For any other person who champions for the success of youth in business and women in business, then you're essentially touching closest to what every sub-Saharan economy really needs to do. People were really keen on opening markets and success for business that are run by youth and women as well. So then, when this name that I'm just about to read for you came up, I said, I have to pray that she comes to the episode. And the last time I spoke to her was back in 2019, 3 years ago, in a different capacity. Now, she comes with a very big title on the table, and I'll be inquiring on exactly what happened to the previous titles as we go on with these conversations. At this particular time, on this particular episode, let me introduce to you, and I'm going to read so that I don't get it wrong, Margaret Mudeu, who is the Regional Director of Africa for Weconnect International. But she doesn't just come with just that title alone. There's just a lot as well in between there. But for now, let's begin from there. Margaret, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Simba.
It's a big title, and I want to start from there so that everybody does know who Weconnect International is. Who's Weconnect International? Let's begin from there, because you come on this particular episode on that title.
All right, Weconnect International is a global network that is member-led, that has women-owned businesses and large corporations who are our members. And what we do is we identify, train, and certify women-owned businesses so that they can be part of global supply chains, basically helping them access markets and procurement opportunities from the large corporations that are our member buyers. Yes.
Pretty much, we're going to come back to that later on in our discussion. Every time I get introduced to somebody who's championing for women rights, women business, youth business, it makes me ask the question, what is this upbringing that you had that essentially would make you identify with success for women in business and youth?
Okay, talking about my upbringing, I was brought up by a very powerful woman, my late mother, who was not only a career woman raising 6 children, but also ran a business. My dad is also an entrepreneur, so I've grown up in that environment, seeing both of them doing business, yes, and running successful careers.
To the point that you like to start championing for successful women in business, would you say that you're very close to your mom, that you identify with your mom more than you'd identify with your father?
Of course I did, because I saw later on, now that I'm a mother, that's when you get to realize how strong, my mother was, raising a family, holding all these hats, running a business on the side and bringing the family together. So that, of course, forms part of why I do what I do. But also in the course of my entrepreneurship journey, and being an entrepreneur ecosystem enabler has also helped me validate why I do what I do. That is championing for women economic empowerment, interacting with a lot of women-owned businesses along my path, and seeing the various challenges that women have to go through so that they can make it through. Yes.
What business was your mom involved in?
She was involved in several businesses. She was an agripreneur, raising, broilers and supplying to Kenchik. So I saw her do various businesses, but mostly she was an agripreneur, yes.
You're just not one founder of one business. You kept on moving from one point to another. That footprint, that you can do anything. Did you get it from your mom? That business is business, you can do it. You can go in and do whatever it is that you want to do.
I think I got it from her and also from my dad, because my dad has always been an entrepreneur. He does export business of curios. Yeah, and he's still in business until today.
Pretty much. I told you your script is a bit complicated because if I start tracing your career, it's in 2017. But we'll find you at 1 million startups, which you founded back in 2017. But then later on, there was Women Biz 360 Hub, which you founded again in 2019. It's just a 2-year difference between that period that you founded these businesses. You like to think that somebody will say, I'll come up with one business, stick for 5 or 10 years, then after that I start another. Could you introduce us to those two businesses, and why was this short period between the time that you founded those two enterprises?
Actually, that's an interesting story because how I got into starting 1 Million Startups East Africa chapter was, I'd say, by like divine direction. I was an entrepreneur. I had just quit formal employment to focus on my business. And one time when I was just online, I saw a pop-up saying that anyone who would like to go and pitch their business before investors, they're welcome to sign up. And that was the night before. I had never pitched anywhere or even seen anyone pitch a business, but I was like, okay, why not try it? Yeah. So when I went to pitch my business at that particular conference or event that was happening, there was someone who was in the midst of the crowd who noticed me. We had a conversation after, shared my pitch deck. Of course, I was looking for funding for my business at that time. But he got back to me months later with a different proposal. Yes. And he was like, okay, I have been part of 1 Million Startups. It's a global organization that supports startups that are tackling sustainable development goals challenges through entrepreneurship. Yes. So he asked me, why not start for us a chapter in Kenya and at least mobilize 100 startups who could shape and sign the first ever entrepreneurship declaration that was going to happen at the UNIDO headquarters in Vienna. Well, I thought this was an even bigger challenge. I had never been in that field. I had been an entrepreneur not for so long, full time, and I thought to myself, where do I even get 100 startups to get? Yeah, but then I had interacted with the startup ecosystem. I talked to various hubs, and before long I had 200 startups. Yes.
What was that period that you got 200 startups?
Within a period of 2 weeks, I mobilized 200 startups, and they traveled to Nairobi because I was part of an entrepreneurship club called Meta. Yes. At Riverside Drive. I was doing my operations from, and I was able to, mobilize, bring them there into the space and launch the chapter. We contributed our voice to the entrepreneurship declaration, making a very strong point that entrepreneurs are key stakeholders in fast-tracking the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, so after that, it was really surprising because they traveled from Nairobi, from Mombasa, Kisumu, and after they're like, what next? What next for us? We are now part of a global community. We've started a local community here of entrepreneurs. And the next thing that I did was I did a survey just amongst the 200 that had signed up and realized that there was clearly a need for entrepreneurial support, and especially on investment readiness. So that's how come 1 Million Startups was started, and started some initiatives supporting entrepreneurs like myself and those that had signed up. And then in the course of running 1 Million Startups, of course, I interacted with a lot of organizations that were in the same space, that were looking for similar services. And one of them was International Trade Center, She Trades Commonwealth Program, where I was selected as a coach. Yes. For IT and BPO women-owned businesses. Yes. And as I interacted with them, they kept on asking, why can't you coach me? And realized, well, there was another need. Everything that I started was just led by clearly a need that I saw at that point. And that's when Women Biz 360 was birthed, just to provide one-on-one coaching for women-owned businesses.
You never held back and said, maybe I just gotta let the chapter that I just began essentially take time before introducing Women Biz 360 Hub?
No, because at that time I was still doing coaching for ITC She Trades, and it was a 3-year engagement. So I was interacting every other day with these women, and of course I thought, well, having something structured just to support them would be good, because 1 Million Startups is a global online community, so the startups are getting even more help being part of the online community.
I want to pick something that is very interesting in your career path. Now, gotta go here and say that you have a degree in computer science and technology from Maseno University. But then you found yourself at KBC at one time, isn't it? Would you say that whatever it is that you're doing right now is related to whatever you studied in university, or you just went to university and found your career path after university?
I would say the latter, but I'm still passionate about technology, because technology is a key enabler for business. Because for everything I do, whether I'm championing for women economic empowerment, I know technology is a key thing. At KBC was my first job. I got employed there as a graduate trainee and worked there for 5 years across various roles. Until when I moved to the private sector. I was in the IT department and actually set up the first IT department. It was non-existent. Everything was purely manual, so we did a lot of work in ensuring that various services in the newsrooms and in the various operations were automated.
Then you said, maybe it's time for me to quit. At what point did you quit this corporate life, and what was the motivation?
Okay, after KBC, I worked at Britam, and then now at Britam, I had given myself a timeline that I was on a 1-year contract. Yeah, so I had said to myself that after the 1-year contract, I would not be renewing it. Yes, yes, I was that. Yes, I was that because I needed to go, into the space of entrepreneurship. I had found my passion. Yeah, and I just wanted to build that particular space at that time. Yes.
Pretty much. And I'll keep on referring to this particular one because this is why it gets a bit complicated for me to understand how the career path essentially went by. Can you talk to us about this time when you're the lead trainer and coach for the International Trade Center? How did you begin that particular career path? And what was your specific role during this period?
Yeah, as I have mentioned before, so when I started 1 Million Startups, I interacted with various organizations that were looking for similar services that I was offering at that time to support either startups or women. Yeah, so International Trade Center, She Trades Commonwealth program had just started in Kenya. They were looking for coaches, especially those that had a background in IT. And that's how come I got selected to be a coach. Yeah, for that particular space. At some point, I also developed curriculum for them, and I was just basically preparing women-owned businesses in the various sectors that they had selected. Like I think 1,000 women across a 3-year period on export market readiness. Yes.
And then it doesn't stop there, because when we try and put you somewhere where you're currently, you're a fellow at the prestigious launch of the Growth Program by Women for Africa and Santander Bank program at Bobson Executive College, and previously at a FIBA and Pact Fellow for Women Enabling Tech Initiatives for Women in Africa. All these accolades, have you been targeting them, or in one way or another you find yourself aligned to whatever it is that you want to achieve with them?
Yeah, I would say I found myself aligned to them because I did come across such opportunities and applied, which again, they validate the work and the impact that I've been able to make, especially for women, supporting women in the IT sector. And that was through the work that I was doing previously, while I was still coaching the IT BPO women-owned businesses under the She Trades program.
Let's then get to understand your psychology, Margaret. I'm going to ask you this. For the sake of our audience, that I'm going to have personal questions I'll ask you. I'm going to select 2 questions and you only have a minute to answer each. Let's start like this then. What is your definition of a successful woman enterprise?
Okay, what I would say, success is pretty relative, but what I would say a successful woman enterprise is one that has first a strong business model. Whether you're a woman, a youth, or a male-led business, having a strong business model that survives, because we saw how COVID came and disrupted a lot of businesses. Yeah, a business model that can survive the times, that is adaptable, and also that makes impact. We know that women reinvest even up to 90% of what they get back to the communities. So I would say a successful woman enterprise is one that has a solid business enterprise and is making impact in the community and also in the economy. Yes.
Question number 2. Yes. How do you view education now? Must I approach education in a target manner, knowing very well that I'm studying this to become this, going by how your career has spun out?
Okay. Education, I think, prepares you and prepares your mindset to adapt to the opportunities available and also to be a solution provider. Yeah. And again, it helps you recognize what your passion and your drive and your mission in life is. I know I did computer science and started a career in the IT sector, but found myself in the entrepreneurship space and, you know, supporting women-owned businesses right now, like in my current role, which as you grow, as you evolve, then you get to realize what your true passion and drive is. Yeah.
Lastly, therefore, before we take a tiny break and come back then and talk about your current role and the various achievements that you've essentially gone through with the 2 areas that you essentially started from. If you look at your life today, in your career, what has kept you going, Margaret?
I have a strong commitment and passion to entrepreneurship and to women economic empowerment. So that is what keeps me going. Hearing impact stories from people that have interacted with me keeps me going. And seeing the opportunities that entrepreneurship clearly has, yeah, that there's clearly no end to entrepreneurship and to the impact it has in providing and solving the problems that we face in our everyday world. Yes.
Let's move into your appointment then. Yes. And before we talk about what your role is now and how we can start to track the footprint of your company now in African businesses, people will say that inventors and entrepreneurs, they do not like to be called back to the corporate life. They will say no. So when we're looking at your profile, that you've grown these 2 areas, the 1 million startups and the Women Biz 360 Hub, then it will be unclear for anybody watching or tracking your career why Weconnect will come calling and then you say, fine, I'll come work with you guys.
Yeah, it was also a very interesting story. But one thing that I say in life is being committed to a mission enables you to be adaptable, yeah, to lead from wherever you are, yeah. For example, if you look at my life, it has been consistently about entrepreneurship, supporting entrepreneurs. Yeah, so Weconnect International offers me a platform to make use of my background, my experiences, my networks, you know, to support more women-owned businesses across Africa.
Was it? Did it take time? Because looking at your CV, you fit right on that particular appointment. Did it take time to convince you, as a leader who had already, you know, cut out what their journey was when it comes to women businesses and youth businesses in Africa?
I had interacted with women-owned businesses and youth businesses in Africa. So clearly the opportunity that Weconnect International gave me was enhancing the work that I was still doing, because I still interact with women-owned businesses across Africa now, and we currently have like close to 4,000 registered women-owned businesses on our network, and large corporations where we champion supplier diversity and inclusion, supporting their efforts across Africa.
Let me take you back. Yes. You have this personality about you that says, well, I'm going to try it as long as it aligns with my principle, my goal. Is that something that you look back to your childhood, Margaret, and say, maybe that is why I am like this today?
As I've mentioned before, I've grown up with 2 parents who have been entrepreneurs, and I've seen them do business. And for my mom, I saw her do business and also have a successful career and family. Yes.
So that's why that for you, the imprint is pick your goal and run with it.
Yes, find a mission in life that makes impact and a difference in people's lives, and will always lead from wherever you are, as long as you are championing your life's mission and purpose. Yeah.
I want us to take a tiny breather, Margaret. Once we come back then, I'll be asking you on exactly what your specific role at Weconnect is and how we can start then tracking your footprint in Africa, especially for women businesses, and what next for you now after Weconnect. That's why we are with a captain of a specific area in business in Africa that touches what should be functional economies, women succeeding in business. Just one. Once we come back, I'll be essentially going back to my notes because it essentially becomes a bit complicated because I want to stick to the script. We are with the director of Africa for Weconnect International, and I'm Margaret Mudeo. Once we come back. Welcome back to the Captain's Arena. We are speaking to a captain whose focus then is seeing women businesses in Africa succeed. Her footprint starts within the country, but all of a sudden now her view has gone regional. She's now overseeing Africa in the capacity of a regional director of Africa for Weconnect International. In case you are just joining us, we are talking to Margaret Mudeo. Let's speak then on what your specific role in Africa is for Weconnect.
Okay, so my specific role is to champion the work of Weconnect International across Africa, ensuring that I position Weconnect International as a thought leader in gender inclusive sourcing, supporting our current global member buyers that are already offering procurement opportunities and are very active across Africa, but while also supporting women-owned businesses that are part of our network.
Yes. How do you achieve this, Margaret? For any other person listening to you, your job sounds straightforward, but then how do you achieve this?
So how we achieve this is, first, I have an amazing team in Africa, and also we also have an amazing team at the global headquarters in Washington, led by our CEO and co-founder of Weconnect International, Elizabeth Vasquez. Yes, but how we also ensure that we enhance our work is through partnerships. I have been in the entrepreneurship ecosystem before, so even leveraging on the partnerships that I had and also creating new ones across the region just to ensure that we get these women-owned businesses where they are, and also ensure that local corporations across Africa understand that it's big business to actually do business with women. They need to do it. Global corporations understand it, and actually as an organization we've realized that only 1% of the procurement spent from large corporations and governments goes to women-owned businesses.
Is that by design?
It's really actually that it's because not many organizations understand why you actually need to procure or make use of services and buy products from women-owned businesses.
So when you look at a business, when an organization is looking for services, they would essentially say, we're looking for the best offer on the table. You like to think that that's what it is. Then why are women losing out to these offers if you're saying that indeed women are also in the business of business, Margaret?
One of the things that we hear a lot from these corporates is that we can't find these women. We have opportunities. Yesterday I had a meeting with Sasini CEO Martin Ocheng telling me how they're also struggling because they have a target to give 30% of their procurement opportunities to women-owned businesses. They don't know where these women are, and it's the same story with most of the corporations that we work with every other day.
And why is that? Why can't these women businesses be found, Margaret?
That's where we come in as an organization to ensure that we identify where these women-owned businesses are and let them know that there are procurement opportunities available for them. And you see, large corporations and governments are the organizations that have big spend, you know, that can be life-changing for women-owned business.
Does it change from being a business, an issue of not knowing where these businesses are, or to an issue of access of market to allow these businesses to grow so they're more visible to these corporations, Margaret? Is that what it is, though?
Yeah, first, they do not have visibility to the corporates, and what we do, once we identify them as Weconnect International, we have a platform that we call WeCommunity, where women-owned businesses register their businesses, and it acts as a silent pitch for them before all our corporate buyers, who are at the moment like 187 of them, and 50% of those are Fortune 500 companies. So they have visibility to these corporates, and now the corporates are able to go to our database and just search and reach out to the women-owned businesses they want to work with. Yes. And if they cannot find them in our database, it's our mandate to ensure that we help them find these women wherever they are. Yes. Of course, you'll find that a larger percent, like more than a third of our database, are in professional services that have a lower barrier to entry, while the areas that have a bigger spend are the technical fields areas, like in construction, IT, where there's a bigger spend. So it's our mandate to ensure that we find these women, build capacity, because we have a lot of procurement readiness opportunities. Like, we're very focused as an organization. We prepare them, even as we identify them and create, help them access this market opportunities from corporate buyers. We also build capacity to ensure that they're actually ready when these opportunities come.
Pretty much. How much is culture an issue also in allowing women businesses get these businesses from these corporations, Margaret?
One thing is, the good thing is the 187 corporations that are part of Weconnect network, yes, already have a mission, yeah, and targets to procure from women-owned businesses. They have supplier diversity and SD&I champions, and so as we like to call them, in every market where they are, who we work with very closely, because they have a target spend that they want to give to women-owned businesses. Yes, so they're very focused, and that's why for us, we make it our mission to ensure they meet those targets, and we hold them accountable. Yes. Yes, like in 2022, during our International Day, we had a challenge we called rising to the challenge, rising to the challenge, yeah, for all our corporates, where they told us about the particular spend and targets that they had, you know, for a certain period of time. And by us knowing what targets they have, what their mission is, then we are able to help them reach those targets and hold them accountable, and tell the success stories that come out of the campaigns that we do, yes, to ensure they are now having more women-owned businesses as part of their supply, yes, chains.
Later, yes, on, I'll be asking you about what you've observed since your appointment. But when you were appointed to this particular position, what was that personal goal that you set for yourself, knowing very well what the challenges for the women businesses in the country, Kenya that is, where you started your trade, and Africa then is?
Yeah, like the top 3 challenges any woman in business faces: one is access to markets, second is access to capital, you know, to do business, and third is capacity. I came in at Weconnect International knowing this. First, having walked the journey as a woman in business, and secondly, as one who had interacted with women-owned businesses and at least seen the challenges that these women face. And so being in a space where I'm able to help as many women-owned businesses, and currently 4,000 that I have to think about every day, that are looking for procurement opportunities from our corporates. Yes, yes, that really keeps me going, and I've made it my life mission to ensure that they get as many procurement opportunities as possible, which is why I'm now currently speaking to local corporations to become members of Weconnect International, to understand gender inclusive sourcing and that what would mean to their businesses and to their sustainability plan as a corporate.
This your appointment, would you say that you're seeing light at the end of the tunnel? Because what majority of critics in this problem that we're talking about here, which you're trying to solve as Weconnect, they're saying, well, the challenges are there and they have been there. And seemingly, if we don't change how we think about women businesses, they are still going to be there. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel when you look now at this particular issue in Africa?
I would say yes. because as we interact now, besides with the global corporations that are already our buyers, interacting with local corporations in our 3 key markets, that is in Nigeria, in South Africa, and in Kenya, we realize they're now starting to understand why they really need to source.
What was the problem, Margaret, from your own outlook now? Why is it that it's now that they're trying to see it?
Sustainability has become one of the biggest things now. ESG, environmental, social, and governance. And if any corporates would want to outlive, the impact that they're making, you cannot ignore women, and especially women-owned businesses. Women form 50% of the population right now. A third of all registered businesses are women-owned. And we know the impact women make. Women influence 85% of purchasing decisions at homes. You cannot ignore women. If they have more, they will spend more. Yeah, so corporates are starting to understand and to see the why. Yes, and why it's a strong business case for them.
What is this personal target that you set for yourself upon the appointment? What is this personal target that you have, Margaret?
Personal target first is to see many women-owned. Currently we are at 4,000, but if we can even get to 10,000 registered women-owned businesses on our network across Africa. Globally we are at 20,000, but Africa, we have so many registered women-owned businesses. So targeting to register many of them, because registration on our platform is absolutely free. And again, we are building capacity, creating programs that are making impact in the lives of these women-owned businesses. To help them remain sustainable and also access market opportunities from the corporates that are part of our network.
You've started a successful charter locally. You've started a mentorship program, a company, you would say, that has essentially become a success locally. And now you've grown into a regional leader when it comes to these issues. Would you say that looking at your regional markets, that these problems of women in business are homogeneous, that the same problems of women in business are facing right here in the country, which I believe you know very well, are the same ones that a woman in Nigeria and South Africa is facing?
Okay, currently I would say like the top 3 challenges that women face: the access to markets, finance, and also capacity. But you realize each of our market is unique. Currently, South Africa is grappling with power challenges. So the women-owned businesses there have very unique challenges, because most of our programs are virtual. So but you're trying to move into in-person events, whether it's training or hosting matchmaking events where they get to meet our buyers. So for virtual events, we have to know having the cameras off because they're trying to save on their power. In Nigeria, we know it's the currency issue, and especially with the foreign exchange. In Kenya, it's the rising cost of living. So over and above the common challenges, you realize each market is facing their own unique challenges, and you tackle it differently. Just to ensure that they feel supported, to keep their businesses going.
You know what I say? That people grow with the challenges that they are faced with every day. I mean, your biggest challenge was starting that charter that you started, and within a week you had 200 startups that led to the creation of Women-Based 360 Hub. How has this particular responsibility changed you personally, Margaret? Is that something that you look at and say, well, now this one I've completely changed just because I've got a completely different view of life now going by this regional director position that I've got?
Your perception changes, because previously just working within East Africa, interacting with entrepreneurs across this region, but you get a different view of the region as you interact with women and realize that, well, you cannot say Africa is homogeneous when it comes to the opportunities and the challenges that we face. So that helps you even come up with more it challenges you to come up with more solutions that will ensure that everyone across the entire region is impacted.
On a personal level, how has it impacted you, Margaret? On a personal level, outside the work life? Because I know now you are interacting with women from different cultures, different countries in Africa. How has it impacted your personal view of life?
How it has impacted it is I'm a solution provider. I like to provide solutions to any challenge that comes my way. And interacting with these women helps me appreciate the role, the key role women play in our economies every day. Especially when you hear about the success stories, when you hear a woman telling about how she's employing like 35 employees, and you see those are 35 families that are positively being impacted by a business that has gotten an opportunity that you made a connection to. Yes. So it gives me an appreciation of the work that I do every day.
Pretty much. Let's move into this particular conversation then. For somebody who wants to learn the footprint of Weconnect Africa, where am I going to start from? How am I going to feel that particular impact? Let's say, for example, right here in the country.
Okay, Kenya is our most recent market. We are 1 year and 3 months old. But even then, we do have success stories already of women-owned businesses that have gotten procurement opportunities from Unilever, Kiage, and some of the corporates that are part of the Weconnect International Network. But for you to feel the impact of Weconnect International, you definitely must register. Become part of the community. That's when you get to know about the opportunities that are available for you from this platform that is B2B and just designed to support women-owned businesses to access market opportunity.
How does a business get to register on Weconnect?
Register on our website, that is www.weconnectinternational.org. You'll see the tab that says women-owned businesses, and just click on register your business now. We do have a video there that is a guide, but our process is very straightforward. Just click, follow the prompts, and register your business to be part of the Weconnect International.
Pretty much. And for someone who's just joining us right now and wondering, okay, I register as a woman-run enterprise. Good. So what?
As I mentioned at the beginning of what we do as an organization, we not only identify the women-owned businesses and have them register on our platform, but we also train them, and our training is on procurement readiness. In the morning, just before this interview, we had a seminar on tech-driven impact, how you can use technology to drive impact in your business for women-owned businesses across Africa. And we had an amazing speaker who's been a great success in that sector, sharing that with the women across Africa that are in our network right now. So we have those opportunities to build capacity. We also have what we call meet the buyer events, where these women-owned businesses meet our buyers, and through the matchmaking sessions, they're able to understand their procurement processes, current opportunities available, and how they can leverage on them. In May, we had our flagship event across the region, which is our Africa Regional Conference, which was happening concurrently across our 3 key markets. And besides having conversations with our buyers, the women-owned businesses, and our partners on gender-inclusive sourcing, we also had matchmaking at the end, where the women were able to meet our corporate buyers. So those are some of the opportunities. Next week, actually, we have a 2-day financial bootcamp by Moody's. Moody's is one of our global corporate buyers, and it's the Moody's team that teach women on how to do financial management for their own businesses. Yes.
Pretty much. Yes. Let me take you back a bit. Then to your personal journey all the way to this appointment as the regional director for Weconnect Africa. If you look at some of the milestones that you've achieved at a Women-Based 360 Hub, what are they? They're the ones that make you happy as Margaret today. You look back and say, in this particular journey for enabling women businesses, I think I have done it.
Yeah, Women-Based 360 is still there, supporting women-owned businesses and offering coaching. But one success story I'd like to point out, during COVID, you know how many businesses were disrupted from the global pandemic. We have one success story. We have various success stories, but I'll share one. Denya Mwendwa, who is the CEO of the label Saba. At that time, her business had been disrupted from the broken, supply chain. She couldn't ship her bags. And what we did was to help her come up with a go-to-market strategy that would work. And right now, she's selling her bags, in the runways in New York, across the globe right now, and doing, amazing work through her leather bag company. Yeah.
Now, we have 6 minutes left for this conversation. I've got two very personal questions that I think our audience then is going to look at and say, well, that is the Margaret. Good. You were born in an entrepreneurial family. Your father was an entrepreneur, your mother was an entrepreneur, and you grew to the point where you're saying, well, I can't corporate life because I got to also start something. What value would you like your kids to grow up with? If there's a value that you would like for them to know today, stick with it and push on into their other life with it, what would it be?
Okay, first is a born-again believer. Of course, I would want them to grow up with Christian values and realizing what their purpose is in life early on, so that whatever they do, whichever path they are taking on in life, they understand their life's purpose, that their life should be a gift to the world, and that there are opportunities available for them to, go for it. Yes.
You say your Christian values have helped you. Yes. That's not the question. That's not the second question. That's a good back. How would you say your Christian values have helped you through your career journey?
I'm a born-again Christian, so my Christian faith is very, very important to me. It keeps me grounded, and it helps me to realize that even through my faith and through being led of God, I am doing good as a service to the humanity and also to God. Yes.
When somebody becomes a regional director for a company, a lot of eyes now look at you. You're a woman now in an influential position, and people start asking you whether there are other things other than women businesses that you may like to impact. And this is a personal question. When you go back to your village, is there something that has remained the same as would be majority of villages in Africa that you now today you would like to say, well, if I get the power and time, I'd like to change that? What is that?
Working a lot more with the women in the grassroots, because they don't get the same support and opportunities as the women that are in the urban areas. So that is one thing that I would really be grateful to also impact their lives in the small businesses they're running, and most of them, working in the farms or selling their produce in the local markets, just seeing how I can also impact their lives to also run sustainable businesses in their own capacity. Yeah, because even if they're feeding just their family, then those are lives that are changing as well. Yeah, so it's something that I think I haven't done much, empowering women in the grassroots.
Paint for me the picture of Weconnect Africa in the next 5 years. I mean, you're now the director for these 3 key markets, and all eyes are on you. What is this vision that you have in the next 5 years for that particular region?
Yeah, so in the next 5 years, we'd want to be more active now, at least in 3 other countries besides Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. Adding Ghana, adding Rwanda, and Namibia or even Botswana, to be more active as our current market. So just growing our footprint across new markets with more women-owned businesses. I've told you we have a goal. If we can reach 10,000, right now we're at 4,000, but getting at 10,000 women-owned businesses, because we know the impact our work clearly makes. Yeah, and also having more local corporates. Most of our buyers are global corporations, but if we can have many more local corporates joining from the local markets, the impact would actually be bigger.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Personal question as well. Yes. Your journey has been illustrious. I mean, your career has been women in business and success of women businesses and bringing women to the fore. When are you going to say, I have achieved my goal? Because your life journey was quite clear from the get-go. What is that time going to be when Margaret is going to come and say, you know what, Simba? I think I'm there.
I cannot say I am there yet, because there's a lot more to be done, especially when you look at, the women across Africa that clearly need support. You realize you're only doing very little. We are at 1% right now of procurement opportunities that have gone to women-owned businesses. I cannot stop now. when we are still at 1%, which is just a drop in the ocean. So
How far are we from even getting to 50%? Because that's what we need to get to, isn't it?
just ensuring that we are positioning ourselves as a thought leader to make people understand that gender inclusive sourcing is actually good for business, especially with local corporations and with the governments. Yeah.
If we don't find you talking about women issues and the women business, what do you like to do for leisure, Margaret?
I love to spend time with my family.
Oh,
So
yeah?
yes, so that's where you'll find me. Yes.
Is that a value that you carried throughout your childhood that now you're practicing as an adult?
Yes, yes,
So you
yes.
like to say your family is quite together.
Yes, yes, very much together. Yeah, spending time with my family, going out to do different activities, but also giving back because we support some children's homes. You'll find us giving back as well.
That's it.
Yes, to the community.
Pretty much. All right. Now, you personally then, Margaret, in the next 5 years, are we still going to be finding you at Weconnect? I mean, we've seen you move quickly in between. Are we still going to be finding you at Weconnect, or you have eyes on something that you want to tell us just before we end this particular episode?
I am still very focused and I love the mission at Weconnect International and what I'm doing across Africa, supporting the 4,000 women we currently have. Who knows what the next 5 years holds? I mean, when we have such a big mission and vision to fulfill, then there is a lot to be done. I recently went back to school. I'm now doing my master's in public administration. Yeah, so we'll see how the next 5 years. But I'll keep on moving, empowering women across Africa and ensuring that they get the support they need. Yes.
After you speak, I won't speak. That's essentially the line that's going to end this episode. If there is one principle that you live your life by, Margaret, what is it?
Do not just be the person that sees an opportunity to make a change and just ignore it or think, okay, maybe someone else will, solve that. Be a leader, be a solution provider from wherever you are. And I think it's those small changes when everyone is in their space and in their element that we get to see the world becoming a better place. When we are all living our purpose, we'll definitely make impact. Yes.
I said I won't speak and I'm not going to speak. On the Captain's Arena, we were graced by Margaret Mudeu, who's the Regional Director of Africa for Weconnect International, speaking passionately about what she thinks needs to happen for us to start talking about women in business succeeding across Africa. Thank you very much for coming by. You're such a lovely guest.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take it back to the time that you joined us right here online and Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. The hashtag is Captain's Arena. I'll meet you next week for another episode. Goodbye.